Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today, folks, we have a dandy. Invincible Iron Man 114, published in 1978. Grabbed this one out of the dollar bin a couple of months ago. Been holding it in reserve for just such an occasion, and here we are. We're going to go through this. It contains some absolutely awesome action sequences. Our cover depicts Iron Man and members of the Mighty Avengers battling their sometime foe, the robotic Arsenal. And again, this cover has some word balloons on it, which I've stated in the past that I do love and miss. The Avengers must die, Arsenal says. Not all of us, Mr. Iron Man replies as he bursts through the wall in this action-packed cover. This is a cover that is from Dave Cockrum and Dan Green, so very nice. And then we have a little tag at the bottom, the menace called Arsenal. So we've got Arsenal here in the foreground, along with an unconscious Vision, Cap, Scarlet Witch, and Yellow Jacket. And we'll see those characters and more in this issue. So let's just dive in. All right, our title is The Menace of Arsenal. And we have here our creative crew. Bill Mantlo is our writer. Keith Giffen, guest penciler. Man, I am excited about that. The work on this is unbelievable. Bruce D is listed as our inker. I think that might be Bruce D. Patterson, but I am not sure. Diana Albers is the letterer. B. Sean is the colorist. Roger Stern is the editor. And Jim Shooter is the editor-in-chief. So our scene opens, great splash page here. It's Avengers Mansion. And we have the Avengers who are standing around some technical equipment while their biochemist member, Hank Pym / Yellow Jacket, is analyzing Iron Man's frequent foe, the Unicorn. And Yellow Jacket says, Shellhead, I didn't mind restoring your friends after they had been turned to gold by Midas. But now you're asking me to cure your enemies too? That's exactly what I'm asking, Yellow Jacket, because if anyone can cure the Unicorn, you can. So great sequence here in one of the labs in Avengers Mansion. And we see this cool, mysterious, looks like a Bacta tank from Star Wars here in the background. And we'll get a little more on that in a second. Love this crouching beast here. This issue is gonna really feature vintage 70s Keith Giffen and show us little hints of things to come as his style evolves through his career. We're gonna get a little bit of that in this issue. But superb work here. Yellow Jacket says, thanks for the compliment, but blast it, I don't even know what's wrong with the Unicorn. Neither do I, old friend, but during his attack on Stark International, my armor sensors revealed that he was dying. So Iron Man now wants to save the Unicorn, partly because he does not kill his foes, and also he wants to learn who sent the Unicorn to attack him. Great shot here of Wonder Man as he's adjusting one of these gadgets. He says, we seem to have become a nursing home for ailing supervillains. We've got Jason Beer on ice. And this note tells us that Jason Beer is the Eternity Man. See Avengers number 169. Count Nefaria, incredibly aged in the first stage of his restoration to normalcy. And here in this great panel, we see Nefaria's aged face. And he's the one in this tank here in the above panel. And that's referencing perhaps my favorite Avengers story of all time, Avengers 164 to 166, which featured Nefaria as an almost Superman-like villain fighting the Avengers. Fantastic artwork by John Byrne and Pablo Marcos in that one, and I do intend to cover it on the show. Yes, and now the Unicorn. The instruments register enormous power, Iron Man. Any attempt to check it could be dangerous. But great shot here of Iron Man looking at Yellow Jacket, and you see Yellow Jacket's reflected image in his face visor. But you'll try, Hank? Yes, old friend, I'll try. So Beast is asking, what's the point of saving our foes? And that's where Iron Man explains, well, I want to find out who sent him, and, it's what we do as Avengers. We're heroes. Vision says, I have checked the power levels as you requested, Hank. The revitalizer is ready. Thanks, Vision. Now we'd all better clear out. The revitalizer will bring the unicorn's erratic life signs back to some form of stability. But none of us should risk exposure to the radiation levels that are involved. Iron Man? Yes, I'm coming. So Iron Man leaves, and we see the unicorn in quiet repose as the revitalizer does its work on him. And we continue to see that perhaps the revitalizer has done its work too well. The Avengers leave, shutting the heavy shielded door behind them. For the next hour, radiation levels within the lab will be such that only the two sleepers, Count Nefaria, protected within his life-preserving ultra-protein bath, and the unicorn, strapped to an anti-rad slab, could possibly endure exposure and live. But after an exhaustive preoperative bioscan, not even Dr. Henry Pym could have imagined that one of the sleepers might wake. Great panel here from Giffen and Bruce D. Krakatoum as a unicorn who is superhumanly strong and tough, in addition to having a uniform that features a number of other abilities that we'll see in this issue. He bursts his bonds and crushes the machine around him in an almost Kirby-esque panel here with a great sound effect, that Krakatoum sound effect from our Diana Albers, our letterer. The shielded lab prevents any sound from escaping to the corridors without. Silently, like a somnambulist, the unicorn turns toward the laboratory door. It is as if, in that direction, he senses freedom, or else that which for him, in his critically degenerative state, is freedom's equivalent, death. Nice work by Bill Mantlo there. He was a guy who could turn a phrase. And love reading this old vintage Mantlo stuff. So then we have an interlude here on the east side of Manhattan. This is Tony Stark, who is Iron Man's alter ego. This is his penthouse, and we see a mysterious woman return from a very luxurious shopping trip to go up to. She has access to Tony's penthouse. And while her face cannot be seen by the doorman here, he certainly admires her form as she walks toward the elevator. And it turns out that she is Whitney Frost, daughter of a Magia gang boss and the woman known as Madame Mosque. So, sometime lover, sometime foe of Iron Man. And this little interlude will pay off in a future issue. So here we are, back at Avengers Mansion, and things are about to heat up considerably. Beast says, "Did you try tracking the beam that seemed to control the unicorn, Shellhead?" "No, the unicorn would have died if I hadn't gotten him here at once." "What did the signal sound like, Iron Man?" Wonder Man asks. "I'll duplicate it on my helmet radio. Listen, it sounded like this." And then we see a mysterious figure here, and it's not clear quite yet who this is, but he knows somehow he is watching remotely. At last, the unicorn is awake, and he sends a signal as well. And then in this incredible panel, which takes up 2/3 of our page, shravam, the unicorn blasts through the wall, and Beast utters his most famous tagline, "Oh, my stars and garters. The unicorn, he's awake, revitalized, and free," Wonder Man adds. This panel encapsulates late 70s Giffen. Just a very strong Kirby influence, but with his own line and style on it. And just a very well-rendered figure work here, and with plenty of Marvel-style action. So Unicorn bursts through the wall and goes into action himself. "Look out for his power horn. He's sweeping the corridor with it." And Yellow Jacket warns as he shrinks down. "Shot down to Yellow Jacket's size just in time. But what of the others?" "Watch it. He's off balance, blasting through the floor," Iron Man warns. And suddenly, he collapses the floor with his power beam. Unicorn does. The floor is giving way. We're dropping to the next level. Vision adds, the Unicorn is power blasting Iron Man at close range. In this awesome shot here, the Beast drops down to put a beat down on Unicorn from above. But in typical fashion during this period, Beast, while often having the best of intentions during his tenure with the Avengers, things always don't go very well for him. Love him though, one of my favorite Avengers. Beast, no! Don't point his power horn down towards the, here we go, floor. So they're going to go through another level of Avengers Mansion. Now you tell me, Beast says. Iron Man thinks to himself as he lands, the Unicorn's even more insane than when we fought earlier tonight. So that was last issue. He's striking out wildly. Whoever's controlling him must know I brought him to Avengers Mansion. If he thinks his pawn is going to mop the floor with the Earth's mightiest heroes, then I'll show him just how wrong he is. Great panel here with Iron Man stepping up and nailing Unicorn with a right cross. Sprack, great sound effect there. He rocks Unicorn back onto his butt. Iron Man, you okay? Fine, Hank, but watch him. He's not out yet. And then Unicorn blasts Iron Man with his built-in boot jets. So in addition to having this beam in his costume, he also has these boot jets that let him fly. But while he blasts Iron Man back one way, he goes careening back the other way. But for every action, as the theorem goes, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Vision analyzes. His first power bust must have weakened the structure down through many levels, Iron Man. The Unicorn is now in the lowest sublevel of our mansion. In that case, we're going down after him. So Unicorn finally starts to come to his senses a little bit. Don't know where I am. The signal's gone. Why doesn't the other tell me what to do? Why doesn't the other guide me? And here is the other again, and it's becoming clearer with this panel who this is. Unicorn, why don't you respond? Where are you? So he's so deep in the ground, the transmission is broken up, but the signal is driving Unicorn crazy. And the signal also wakes something else up, something even perhaps more dangerous than Unicorn. So I'm going to spill the beans here. This looks like the Titanium Man, his distinctive faceplate and armor, just from what we've seen. Meanwhile, this signal awakens, like I said, an even more dangerous foe, and we're about to meet Arsenal. I am Arsenal. I am summoned. I respond. I smash. Wait, isn't that the Hulk's line? But that's okay. Arsenal is a pretty potent Hulk-like threat level here. And yes, it is Titanium Man. So here he sees that his agent is now out of the fight as he is blasted by Arsenal. No incoming program, so this unit must go to immediate situation response to deal with an imminent enemy approach. And the Avengers arrive in the sub-basement. Careful, Avengers, the Unicorn could be anywhere down here. And Beast says, why don't we go back upstairs and wait for him to come to us? And Vision responds, this sub-level leads to our river access and docking area, Beast. We cannot let the Unicorn escape. But suddenly, and in this next panel, Vision is unexpectedly blasted by Arsenal as he approaches from out of the gloom. What the hey, Vision? And then Arsenal unleashes a gas burst on the Beast, KOing him. Great panel here. Love the way the gas is depicted by Giffen and the inker, and also the way it's colored by Sean, our colorist. A really cool green, very sinister looking. Gas! The Beast sucked in a mouthful. It's obscured our visibility, Shellhead. Can't see Yellow Jacket. That was Wonder Man. But Yellow Jacket shrinks down underneath the gas, which is lighter than air and rising. And he gets around past the gas cloud and is going to attack Arsenal. Wait, it's tracking my every move. It possesses some kind of radar. And Arsenal shocks Yellow Jacket into unconsciousness. Hank's been zapped by an electric force field. Everything's happening so fast. Only Wonder Man and I are still on our feet. And we don't even know who or what we're fighting. So Wonder Man, one of the most powerful Avengers, once knocked out Thor, can lift press 95 tons, composed of ionic energy, almost indestructible, but often unsure of himself during this time period and not the most effective Avengers combatant. But he's usually pretty game. So he comes running forward, enemy attempting to outflank this unit. So you can talk, can you? Yes, and he backhands Wonder Man away, catching him flush. We have our letters page. Oftentimes during this period, the letters page would show up in the middle of the book rather than at the end. I took a quick perusal before starting the show and didn't notice anything too distinctive. No distinctive letter writers like Kurt Busiek or other people or T.M. Maple. Real quick, I'll read this one. Dear Bill, Iron Man is now perhaps the most human and lifelike character in all of Marveldom. Thank you, Bill Mantlo. Long live the new Iron Man. So that was Tony R. Rose from Bowles, Arizona. He was very excited about Bill Mantlo's depiction of Iron Man. And I am too. This is a pretty good book so far. Great sub ad here with our floating heads, Iron Man himself, Conan, and Nighthawk. And Nighthawk does remind us, and remember, all titles are mailed flat. Back in the old days of comic subscriptions, your books would be rolled up and half ruined when they got there, but they're saying they're going to be mailed flat, which I'm sure made some people, assured some people of their subscription. All right, back to our story. This page in particular, this page 22, is really great from an art perspective because I feel like on this page we get a hint, a really strong hint of that future Giffen, and we get that here in this this brief interlude across the top third of the page. If you just look at that figure, that face in profile, and you compare it to, I just have my copy of Legion of Superheroes 298, which I featured in the very first episode of Scott Reed's Comics. Check it out if you haven't already. Check out when I compare Ultra Boy in profile to this character here. Very similar construction. So this is 5 years later, no pun intended for you Legion Giffen fans. 5 years later, Giffen's style has morphed further and developed further, but you can see shades of it here, even though he is in a Marvel house, drawing in a Marvel house style with some strong Kirby influences. Just very cool. Love Keith Giffen. Can't say enough about how much I enjoy, especially his early work. At that moment, in the Stark International Systems Analysis Center, excellent. Just the printout I need. The new security boys here are good, but they're no match for me. Just a little more data, and Tony Stark will be as good as dead. So this is some kind of corporate espionage or something going on here. And again, that's going to pay off in a later issue because we're back to our fight. And here Arsenal has just punched Iron Man away. Wonder Man, get down. And Wonder Man also has pretty fast reflexes, so he gets out of the way of the careening Iron Man. He announces that he's just tired of this. He's gonna take Arsenal out, but he runs face first into Arsenal's incredibly powerful chest cannon. And this might be one of my favorite panels in the whole book. It's just totally awesome. Blam is our sound effect, and great use of color, and it just a perfect depiction of a superhero blast knocking Wonder Man back and presumably out. Lord, a chest-mounted cannon, and Wonder Man took a point-blank blast. Only one enemy unit remains. End of battle imminent. Guess again, you walking blockbuster. The battle's just getting started. Awesome panel here of Iron Man rocketing forward toward us out of the panel. And then, what about Cap and Wanda? Well, at that very instant, I don't believe it. We step out for dinner and come back to find this. Cap, that sounds like an explosion in the next corridor. And we see the payoff from this panel here in the last panel. Tradroom, as Iron Man presumably does a Sunday punch or a super strong blast and knocks Arsenal through a wall. Unless I miss my guess, the sound was Iron Man. But what was that? And we will find out, Cap. Iron Man comes streaking by, following up on his attack. He flew right past us without a word. His attention can't be in two places at once. It's his fight, but we'll hang back in reserve in case he needs us. Armor freezing. So Arsenal literally has an arsenal of different weapons at his command, in addition to his bludgeoning strength. And that's cool. It's befitting the character. He definitely has a theme. He's a war robot. So he has all these weapons, and one of them is a freeze beam. So you can see Iron Man's coated in ice here and stunned and out of the battle for a moment. So Arsenal just sort of casually casts him aside. And here in this great panel, Cap and Wanda are about to leap into action. Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. All right, Wanda, he needs us now. Let's move. Right behind you, Cap. So I said Arsenal has a lot of weapons. He also has a vacuum, and he uses it to suddenly suck Cap toward him in this great panel here, right up to the nozzle of his vacuum. And then he literally blows him away and sends him right into Wanda, knocking them both out. All enemy units immobilized. Since no programming is forthcoming from the creators, this unit's duty is clear. I must analyze the opposition and then annihilate them. No, only over my dead body. So Iron Man's glowing fist grabs Arsenal, turns him around, and then he punches him with an incredibly powerful blow. Scream! Impossible. This unit is armed with early detection devices, and my armor is designed to block detection when I so choose. My thermal units thawed me out, robot, and now I'll unload their excess heat on you. Scree! You have defied probability. You have hurt this unit. You're lucky you're only facing the second most powerful Avenger, robot. So, Mantlo, not only is he a master of character development, plot, subplots, things like that, weaving those in and out of the main story, he's really good at giving the fans what they want. And when you read an Iron Man comic, especially at this time, it's about the armor. And Iron Man's armor is what he uses to solve problems. Tony Stark's incredible intellect inside this incredible piece of machinery that he designed, and it's got gadgets and it has all these other features and doodads. And so in a combat situation like this, showing those off, it's paying off. This is why the folks love Iron Man, for the tech stuff, and you're getting that in spades here. Great double shot of his repulsors here. So we're about to come upon a pretty amazing second splash page here. Look at that. If Thor were here, you wouldn't be getting up again after this. And all Arsenal can say once again is scream. So with this time with the left hand, Iron Man smashes Arsenal back. Vital functions disrupted. Probability of this unit's demise certain. Especially if you make one false move, robot. No, this unit's mission must not be jeopardized. So a sudden, incredibly bright flash, and Iron Man is temporarily blinded. But he's able to, once again, that armor, the gadgets. Light, bright enough to score my retinas. My clouded visiplates dropped just in time. But some of the blinding glare gets through to Iron Man's eyes, temporarily blinding him. And by the time his sight returns, his foeman has vanished. But he can't have gone far. A fast sensor scan should. Nothing. But that's impossible. How could something so big appear in the heart of our headquarters and then disappear without a trace? With that question echoing mockingly in his mind, Iron Man revives his fallen comrades. So here we have Unicorn is back in containment. The Unicorn, he must have been that monster's first victim. There's not much hope of reviving him now, Yellowjacket says. I'll take him with me then. Keep him on life support at Stark International. But a revived Vision asks, but what of his unknown master? And of the robot which almost destroyed 6 Avengers? I'll find them both, Vision. That I swear. Great final panel of a grim-faced Tony Stark beneath the Iron Man visor. So cool. With so little detail of his face, only the eyes and that featureless plate, but just the use of shadow there by Giffen and the great payoff from the colorist, you can see that it is a grim visage underneath that faceplate. Intensity of the eyes is just amazing. Finally, it says, Arsenal will return in an upcoming issue of Avengers. Meanwhile, next month, Betrayal. And Arsenal will return in Avengers Annual number 9, drawn by Don Newton. A really cool story, and I'll definitely get to covering that on the show. But this has been Iron Man 114. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. And thanks for visiting and watching Scott Reads Comics. I'll bring you more soon.